Hello, my friends. Welcome to the penultimate day in Vegas. Raw is tonight. I was about to call it Raw is War, like it's 1999. But of course, we're going to focus on WrestleMania Night 2 today. But as we are outside of all the casinos, thank you to MGM and Surfshark and everybody else who has allowed us to be here. But I know, I felt it, I've seen it, you've got in touch with me, which I always do appreciate. You are pretty pissed at WWE right now, mostly given the end of WrestleMania 41. I guess if we're going to learn from the past, maybe we need to stop holding WrestleManias in Vegas because it annoys the crowd. Though actually, people weren't annoyed when Hulk Hogan won the championship back at WrestleMania 9. It was after the fact we all went, wait a minute, that was a stupid idea. The people popped and they got quite into it. Although people also popped when John Cena won. But I would suppose there are two things that have irked everybody. The first is Travis Scott. Now, I found it quite amusing. I watch wrestling in a very interesting way, but Travis Scott would have worked if he was running number one and running number two was The Rock. I think this is the real reason people are, well, they're disappointed. And I get that. If you've gone to Las Vegas, you're going to WrestleMania, The Rock was obviously a pivotal part of John Cena going heel, and then he's not at the show of shows when we have built up this own expectation. You're going to feel upset, you're going to feel sad, you're going to feel a little bit like, man, I don't really understand what's going on here. Now, just to play devil's advocate, WWE never advertised it, and it was never on the graphic sheet, whatever you want to say, but that's not the point. We have been conditioned and we expect certain things from wrestling, especially when somebody like The Rock has played such a pivotal part. And of course, if we are going to dive into the rumor mill and the murmur mill, we always take it with a pinch of salt because we're not there and we do not know, but I think it's fun to chat about it. There is this idea, or this plan, that the John Cena heel turn was absolutely on the cards. We'd sat down, Triple H had that conversation with John Cena, but we were going to pull the trigger at WrestleMania, which would have made sense. Go back to the start of the match. Cody Rhodes is out wrestling John Cena, so I'd imagine if he had come into this as a good guy, plus you would have got the big over-the-top entrance for the last time, eventually John Cena realizes, oh man, I've lost a step. He's younger than me, he's the new guy, I'm the dude on the way out, but I have to get this 17th World Championship. Why don't I go heel, use the title belt, kicks him in the balls? You probably would have got a bigger moment. I think people would have been super duper excited about it, given The Rock did come back on that SmackDown before the Chamber. I guess they tried to sort of, I don't even know what the right word would be, but shift it into place. So the point is, obviously, Travis Scott comes out, he gets taken out by Cody Rhodes, he gives him the crossroads, he gets his receipt from the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, PLE, and I think we all assumed that Cody Rhodes would have kicked out of the low blow shot, and the belt shot was kind of a combo thing. By John Cena, out comes The Rock, and that's how it's ended. And we didn't do that. Now, you're going to have to let me know in the comments below. You're going to have to let me know how you feel in your tum-tum, but that's my gauge of things.
It's WrestleMania week. We are here in Las Vegas, courtesy of Surfshark, who are sponsoring all of our content. And Surfshark's VPN is just fantastic. It makes sure all of your stuff stays private and secure when you're out and about online, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Not only that, but it allows you to change your virtual location to access all your favorite content as well, which means you can watch all of WWE's shows on Netflix, not just Raw, but SmackDown and NXT too. Plus, no ads whatsoever, which means you'd also get to see all the extra content us Brits get to see, stuff like this.
Can I have an autograph, please?
Your town sucks, kid! Just click the link in the description and use code WhatCultureMania at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN.
Now, I too sat there the whole time expecting The Rock to come out. There was a guy in front of me who literally the whole match just filmed the entranceway because he too thought The Rock was going to come out. And I am disappointed by it. I think that would have made it superb, to be honest. I think that would have been a wonderful story to tell and a wonderful way to get John Cena that championship. But if I am going to look at the human side of things, which I like to do, I don't know what Dwayne Johnson's schedule is like. I like to think he wanted to be there, but I also think if he wasn't going to be there, WWE should have made it super clear he's definitely not coming. Now maybe they didn't do that because he makes last minute decisions, I don't know. But I don't want to say it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, that's a bit too extreme, but I understand some of the cries that are happening right now in social media, although I think it does tie into something different. I think WWE does have to be careful here. Shenanigans has become the theme of WrestleMania main events. Go back to WrestleMania 40, right? The second half of that match was the king of shenanigans. I'm not going to lie, I thought that was sports entertainment perfection, so I can't get too mad at it, but you don't want to precondition your audience to thinking that's always what's going to happen. You always have to believe in the match that you're seeing. Now, WrestleMania 41 Part 2 Night 2 main event is an outlier because even if you had sat down there and planned it as simply as possibly, The Rock should have been in it, right? You needed that addition, you needed that character, you needed that persona to kind of really explain this to people. Although I will say, I'll throw another devil's advocate thing out there, John Cena did tell us we get nothing. So WWE could probably throw it away in that sense. But now, especially going into whatever we're going to do at WrestleMania 42, and maybe even SummerSlam, which is going to come across like a WrestleMania main event, because it's going to be over 2 nights. I think it's really important we start to, and it's going to take a while, but train people that even if you do just have a big mega match main event, it can just be 2 guys or 2 girls going at it, and the winner, there's a loser, there's a championship, there's not a championship, and you want to save the shenanigans, the nonsense, the run-ins, for as and when it makes sense. So it's kind of a weird point that I'm making because I'm being a little bit hypocritical. Last night, should we have done that? Yes. Going forward, do we need to pivot? There's that magic word, away from that. Yes, we do. But you have every right to be pissed. Of course you do. It's like any other story that I could tell you. I always go back to romantic comedies, as you know. You want the 2 leads to get together in the end. And if one of the main leads then just vanished halfway through the movie and didn't come back with no explanation, you would rightfully be like, well, that was a little bit strange. I understand what's going on here because you have learned through your years of watching wrestling or reading books or watching your romantic comedies, that's how it works. And that is something else I'm a little bit worried about when it does come to wrestling reactions. There's this idea that if something is too obvious, we can't do it. I disagree. I don't want to talk about the Jey Uso stuff. We did that on the video yesterday. Check it out. But good guy beating bad guy in my books is always going to be okay, as long as I really like the good guy and I really hate the bad guy. And I think WWE achieved that. But then I think the obvious nature ties into why. So we're kind of in a very, very weird wishy-washy situation. We did it on Saturday in match 1, and some people didn't like it. And then we didn't do it in match 2, in the main event of night 2, because The Rock wasn't there, and some people like. So it's all a little bit off the rails. But I think if The Rock is not going to be involved for some time, John Cena should probably address all that on Raw this evening, if he is going to be on Raw. I do believe, interestingly, I think John Cena did say he is going to be on Raw, which is kind of fascinating because his whole point to Cody Rhodes a few weeks ago was he was going to take that belt and go away. Now he's trying to sort of make it out, and listen, I don't mind stories evolving like this, but the idea is he's going to be the last person to hold this WWE title. He's going to ruin wrestling, so we have to reset the whole industry and start again with a brand new belt, be that Seth Rollins or Dominic Mysterio or Cody Rhodes. Now, it kind of doesn't work so well because we only just invented a new belt like 1.5 years or 2 years ago. But we have to wait to see how this one plays out. But that's why I think a lot of people are annoyed, because if you go back and watch Travis Scott's entrance too, he gets a Rock type pop because people thought it was going to be The Rock. I know it was his song or whatever the flub it was, but I'm pretty sure The Rock came out to that before and then it transitioned into if you smell what The Rock is cooking. This is going to be an interesting one to see how people adapt going over the Raw and SmackDowns. I don't think people are going to stop watching. You've seen a few of that, oh, I'm going to boycott WWE. I think we can all just accept that maybe it wasn't as good as we had hoped it would be, but then we carry on regardless. Remember, wrestling is the most important of the least important things, and you should shout and you should be passionate and you should have an energy, but don't let it get you down too much. Don't make it like be a sad panda. There's a wonderful world out there and you must go embrace all of it. But trust me, I was convinced The Rock was going to come out, and the finish fell flat. I think that's the problem. Again, you go back to WrestleMania 40. What was the finish? It was over the top, it was big, it was bombastic. You go back to WrestleMania 39. What was the finish? Cody Rhodes not finishing his story. Although that set people off too, in a similar way. But see, it's really hard. I think it comes down to expectations. I think it comes down to what you want from an event. And I'm sure there's somebody out there, again, I'm trying to sort of walk down the middle line here because I want to try and, well, impassion you to talk about it in the comments. But there is going to be someone out there that loved all this. They love the chaos. They love the fact that Rock didn't turn up. They love the fact that John Cena essentially told you get nothing, man. And maybe John Cena, I think, interrupted myself. I think what John Cena has to do later is say The Rock wasn't there because him and I sat down and had a conversation and said they don't get it. They get nothing. We're not going to do it. I mean, there is a massive sort of plot hole in that, because if they wanted to take the title from Cody Rhodes and their backup plan was, Dwayne, you're not going to come, but we'll send Travis Scott, who looked tiny compared to Cody Rhodes, it doesn't really add up. But I think AEW did something similar recently with MJF in the Owen Hart tournament. They just gave me a little bit of a nugget of a story, so I at least could make sense of why he wouldn't be in it. And I really think WWE, out of respect for the fans that did want to see The Rock, they should address it. Don't shy away from it, because wrestling companies have done that before as well. I think this is salvageable. I think this is savable. We need John Cena to go out there and cut a fire promo. I do want to focus on some of the good bits. I love John Cena's entrance. I thought that was genuinely a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because he's never going to be at another WrestleMania again. I also thought it was kind of, lame is the best word. I think that's the nicest word to use. It was a bit lame that Cody had this incredible win at WrestleMania 40, and we basically protected him for 3 years, and then he lost to Travis Scott and a belt shot and being kicked in the balls. Once again, I don't mean to drive this into the floor. Another reason why The Rock being there would have been awesome. He's a huge star. He's a guy. Everybody believes him as a main eventer, the final boss, all of those words. If he had got involved and then John Cena had won that way, I just think you would have not even understood it more, but you would have accepted it more. And that is the word. I don't think people accepted such a strange main event. And in hindsight is a wonderful tool, we should have flipped the main events, right? If you want the shenanigans, and you want the shenanigans to pay off, Heyman teaming up with Seth Rollins is far more of a WrestleMania ender than John Cena. And it was both heels, right? They were both heels doing heels things. So WrestleMania, both nights actually ended on a sour note if you're looking at bad guys. Speaking of which, I would go and watch, I think it was ESPN or the Pat McAfee show, whatever. I think it was ESPN. Paul Heyman was on that show this morning. I don't think we're getting the same Paul Heyman we got for the last 5 years. He said some stuff that will send your eyes out of your face. I think we're getting ECW Paul Heyman. The last time we saw that was the Hall of Fame when he got inducted. It also sounds like him and Seth Rollins are going to start a group. I imagine Jeff Cobb would be in that group, maybe Bronson Reed when he comes back. And as for somebody else, I do not know, but I would imagine, given that the Bloodline are now gone, and the Fesh definitely now, and we're about to break up the Judgment Day given the Intercontinental title match, I think the WWE is going to stick to what they have been doing the last few years, and Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins are going to start a new, probably dangerous alliance. I can see it because Triple H loves the past. On that note, I'm going to round this thing up. Please go and watch all of our content again. Thank you to MGM, Surfshark for everything they have done. Go interact, like the video, share the video, subscribe. You can come follow us on social media and all of that. Now I need to get in from the sun, because somebody didn't put sunscreen on today. How is my voice holding on? I do not know. I lost it on Friday, and here we are on Monday. We'll of course do ups and downs for Raw this evening too. So I may be like a mute by then, and we'll do it in hand signals, but that will be fun. Or it'll be terrible. Either way, it doesn't matter. Take care, my friends. Enjoy the last day of WrestleMania, and I'll see you soon.